Good morning to you. Welcome to Up to the Minute. I'm Todd Duplantis. It is a Monday. I know it, but we're here to get you through at least the next half hour. Start your work week right. We've got your HCC News and Information, and boy, this is a tough day in the city of Houston. It really is. We had a horrific incident which happened the other night at Energy Park at the Astroworld Music Festival. 8 people lost their lives, and dozens have been injured, if not hundreds that were treated at the event itself. I know it sounds disingenuous, but I mean this from the bottom of my heart. You know, our hearts and our prayers go out to those who were affected by this tragedy, especially the families who lost loved ones. We're going to talk more about that later in the show. We're going to get through this day because the city is very resilient. It has proven so in the past. We're going to get to that shortly. Right now, though, I want to check in with Dr. Tony Rayo Sutherland. Tony, you're a musician. You've been to many concerts. You see something like this happen. This has happened in history before. I mean, you think of a Who concert back in 1981 where people were trampled to death. And it unfortunately still happens, and it happened in our city. Horrific situation, and it's something we're all going to have to get through.
Exactly. And it's so sad because music is something that can lift you up and you know, it's a wonderful experience. And for something like that to happen, it's devastating. But and I know as an artist, you know, what do you do up there? I mean, you know, what do you do while you see this happening? It's a very difficult situation. But as you said, our hearts go out to all those people. It's just a horrible thing.
It is. We're going to get through the show, though. We've got some wonderful news to talk about. We're also going to talk about Friday's events. But let's remind folks that we're on HCCTV. If you're not watching us live on Facebook and YouTube, we appreciate you being here. You can always catch the rebroadcast weekdays on HCCTV at noon and 5 p.m. And you can follow us in social media. We encourage you to do so. And tell them how they can find us, Tony.
Yes, just look for Houston Community College District on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. Not just HCC, but Houston Community College District. And you'll find us and just follow us.
Okay, Tony, you've got an exciting story you're going to be talking about very shortly. You're going to be talking to these next 2 guests. They're a student success story, very inspirational. We've got Laura Lopez Cano and also Louis Cano. Yeah, they're related. They're mother and son. Laura is a local artist, and Louis, following in his mom's footsteps, is a local artist. He's at TSU now. He graduated from HCC. Good morning to you both.
Hello.
Good morning.
Yeah, we're looking. Okay, so Louis, you stepped out of a class, right? So you're at TSU right now on campus?
Yes, I am.
All right. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but we appreciate you being here. We're looking forward to hearing from the story because we're going to need some good news for today. So we're looking forward to hearing from both of you very shortly. So I'm going to ask you to stand by for about 10 minutes and we'll get to you shortly. Right now, we're going to move on to It's Music Monday, and we usually have a guest talking about the local music scene. DeVaughn Douglas is a music critic with Houston Press. DeVaughn, welcome to the show. I know we originally asked you to be on here to talk about the Houston music scene, but this really took a strange turn of events on Friday. You were at the concert at the Astroworld Music Festival. First off, you know, we're so happy that you weren't injured, but maybe you can kind of give us an idea of what happened from your perspective and that night and what's happened and your thoughts in this past few days.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for having me on. I think the interesting thing, and as lawsuits and more information comes out, this is going to be about perspective. It was a massive concert. It was a massive event, and a lot of people there, myself included, I was covering it for the press, did not know a lot that had happened until I got home. Even I was in a media section that was on the side of stage, and it was a regular concert for us.
Right.
And for a lot of people don't realize this was an all-day event. So things were occurring throughout the day, concerts and all these other, performances. and nothing had happened. There was an incident that happened earlier in the day, and that evening was capped off with, of course, the tragedy of that crush. But I didn't realize that until I had actually gotten home and started looking at Twitter and seeing the videos.
And I imagine it would be safe to say that most that were there did not, unless you were in the midst of being crushed, you did not know or hear, I guess what bothers me the most, DeVaughn, is you look back over the last 40 years of concert going. We went through this in 1978 at a Who concert back in, I believe it was Cincinnati, where I want to say a dozen or so people were trampled to death going into a general admission concert. The band knew nothing about this, from what I was told. They didn't know until the Who came off stage. Then they were told these people died. And then they determined we have to go on, and they continued the tour. Travis Scott has just announced, I think it was this morning, that he's canceling at least his next show. And there's now a lot of speculation. Did the artist know about this? You didn't know about this, and you were there. I know you can't speak for him, but could you think the artist would know about something like this? I mean, there's video of him in the crowd overseeing things.
I think when things start to come out and they start to do investigations, remember, this was live streamed on Apple. And, in today's day and age, everybody had their camera phones out and recording it. And I think that's time is going to tell. From my perspective, he stopped the show at least 3 times.
Right.
At one point, even pointing to somebody and saying, hey, like the crowd was pointing to somebody, and they lifted a kid out the audience. The paramedics came, got the kid, and that was it. From my perspective, I think it would take a lot to even prove that he just knowingly knew something was going on with the show. I think a lot of this is going to fall on Live Nation and the promoters. And what did they know? How did they know? People are going to go back and look at the security for the event. Were they properly staffed? At the end of the day, somebody dropped the ball. Nobody should go to a concert and die. That's the given. But where the fault lies is going to be a lot more in depth in terms of looking at the investigation. I believe Live Nation had a thing with Gwen Stefani's concert recently, and they were actually cleared of that because what they found was Gwen asked people to come down, and her asking people, and it wasn't like she was inciting it, but her just asking people, hey guys, come down to these empty seats, caused a riot and a girl broke her leg. Live Nation was clear to that. They said, look, you guys had security and everything. I don't believe that Travis was necessarily saying at any point, hey, come down here, but that's going to be for court to determine.
Yeah, and we'll be hearing much, much more about this, and there'll be time to make judgment as it goes through the legal system. But let me ask you this. You were at a concert where their estimates of at least 50,000 people were in attendance. When you're at a massive concert like that, there's no assigned seating. Did you feel, maybe you were in the media tent, but did you feel safe when you walked amongst the crowd because of so many people being there? I mean, when you're in the middle of I just feel uncomfortable no matter what when I'm at, Cynthia Woods Mitchell Pavilion and it's packed. Yeah. Did you feel uncomfortable at times? Did you feel like from a personal basis that there was enough security from what you could see?
And I will say this, it's a spread out festival. Right. So there was also in between shows, there were probably 30 minutes between each show. Everybody wasn't going to every show. There were also carnival rides, food trucks, like local food trucks and everything. So everybody was pretty spread out. So for the day, it was, I felt relatively safe, like I would feel at any festival. There were definitely some clear kind of red flags that I was standing by that VIP entrance area as the kids smashed through. Looking when you see the cops on horses getting people, that incident lasted probably about 3 minutes. And the cops quickly got it under control, but it looked I don't believe it should have happened because security probably should have been placed better, in my perspective. And I'm not a professional on that.
Yeah.
But as other concerts I've gone to, this is a Travis Scott concert. The tickets are high. His fans are young. They want to get into the concert. They're going to try to get into the concert. The second annual one, they smashed the gate down trying to get into a concert. So it is kind of one of those things where it's like you would want them to be prepared for that. But besides for that first incident when we first got there, and that was right around as Master P was opening up the show, that was it. And then it was for the rest of the day until the evening. For me, there were no other incidents, other real incidents. There was one particular moment where going back and forth from the media tent, we have photographers that go into the pit in front of the stage. After maybe the second or third show, a group of the audience kind of swarmed onto one side as the photographers were exiting that side. So when the photographers come in, there were a couple of photographers I know, like, hey, I lost some equipment, things got roughed up. Somebody came in and spoke to us in the media tent and was like, hey, we apologize. We will put more security on that side. And when they did, I didn't hear any other complaints for photographers after that.
One final question. After the Cincinnati incident, I believe it was in 1978 when the people were killed at a Who concert, the city established a rule to eliminate general assigned seating at concerts to try to stop these type of stampedes from happening. Do you see laws changing after what happened Friday night? I mean, things have to change, but do you think we're going to start looking at music festivals a lot differently now?
I think there are a lot of music festivals that do it well. You're getting a large group of people together. You have to prepare for how a large group of people are going to act. And this is not unnecessarily malicious acting. Everybody moving as a unit, things can happen. I think for Travis and this concert in particularly, if it were to continue, I think they should start thinking about things kind of how the rodeo is. Maybe you guys need to do rides on the outside and all the festival and take it indoors for the concert where it's a little bit more controlled.
Sure. Things are going to change. A lot of judgment. We'll have to wait until we let the legal process play itself out, because unfortunately, this is just the beginning, and we'll hear a lot.
Absolutely. The first lawsuits, I believe, were just coming in today and yesterday, and there are definitely more reports that are coming out, and this is going over the next year. We're going to find out a lot about what happened behind the scenes.
Disturbing, horrific, but as a city, we're going to get over this. We always do, and we're going to get through this. DeVaughn Douglas, we appreciate you being here this morning. Thank you so much. And once again, we're so happy you weren't injured the other night. I know you probably had to sort through a lot of things this weekend too, seeing what happened.
Absolutely.
Thank you, DeVaughn. Have a good day.
You too.
All right, Dr. Tony, I'm going to turn things over, pick up the mood just a little bit, because you've got some good news. This is a student success story involving a mom and her son, and I'm going to let you take it away.
Thank you. Yes, this is some very good news. Laura Lopez Cano, who's a local artist here in Houston, and then Luis Cano is also an artist, and he just happens to be her son, who is also an artist, a current TSU student, and guess what? An HCC graduate. And we're so happy to have you guys on the show.
Hello.
Very good. We're just excited about y'all being here. You are definitely a student success story. We like to put on student success stories, but this is all in the family student success, you might say. So, and then we also, one of our trustees, Dr. Preta Van Dibbel Stallworth, saw some of the wonderful work that your mom, Laura, put out at a local Dia de los Muertos event. And she was so impressed with it. And then she met the rest of the family, Luis and everything. And so she told us about that. So we want to thank her for letting us know about you guys. So how does it feel? I'm just going to ask a quick question to Laura and then go on to Luis. Laura, how does it feel to have a son following in your footsteps?
Well, I don't know if he had a choice. He has been traveling with me to shows throughout the state and setting up and putting up art and selling art, and we have a home studio and stuff. So he has been involved as part of this. I really thought that he would go in a different direction. But when he decided that this was where he wanted to go, we kind of try to figure out where and how, because it was very important to him to get a degree. So it wasn't just about, I've been doing this with my mom and I've been selling art and throughout high school and, and all the stuff. And he could have just gone on that way, but he insisted that he had to have a degree. And, we are so proud of him because he's looking towards masters and maybe even a doctorate.
Absolutely. Education is very, very important, no matter what field you go into, but especially this one. So Luis, how are you doing? I know that you're in class or right outside of class. Is that right?
Yes, I just finished a class. I finished a life sketch class.
Wonderful. Okay. Well, tell us a little bit about, you've done a lot of things with your mom and everything. Did you always want to be an artist or what happened?
Well, the thing is, I started out working with my mother for a long time, and I just sort of dropped into it. I liked drawing, and I did a lot of sketches when I was a kid. And while I was doing the work for my mother, I would, spend time drawing and painting and stuff. And I guess I just sort of grew into really liking art in general.
Excellent. Well, Laura, I know that your work is so wonderful and it's got a special niche, it seems like. A lot of your work is very tender, yet powerful, and it's about womanhood. Is that right? Tell us a little bit about what you do.
Well, I think that if you had to describe what I do, it is more visual empowerment of the female spirit and mostly women of color, which is interesting because that's my son had to kind of come into that kind of niche, right? Where there's this women and stuff like that. And it also is about preservation of culture. We are Hispanic, Mexican American, from Texas. We've grown up in Texas and he was born in El Paso. So I think it was a little bit of both. And as we traveled, we saw that there was a need for this kind of art. Someone told me, paint what you know. And I know that in our family, the female, the mother, the aunt, the grandmother was very strong in guiding all of us. My mother, who was an immigrant, managed to get one son into med school, one daughter into law school, another son in political science. And then, of course, I was the artist and stuff. So it was always knowing that if you just kind of stuck to what you knew, how that could empower us. And so it was interesting how Lewis was going to take that direction. Although he does paint some imagery of his culture, it is a different culture than mine because he is not only male, but he's very involved in so many other things that he can express. And so I'm always at awe to see what he's going to come up with that looks different than mine.
That is so neat. Well, you always hear the expression starving artist. Well, I don't think that would be the case for you guys. You are well known throughout, I know throughout the United States. Tell us a little bit about some of the shows and things that you've done.
Well, I've traveled throughout the United States. I have had clients like General Motors or Starbucks, and I've also sat on the board with McDonald's Corporation. But it was interesting because you think, well, how does an artist get there? And it really is that someone bought or was moved by my art and then recognized that there was a need to express that within their corporation or their company. And it really is how art is a service. A quick story of one of my pieces is at the University of Iowa at the library, and I got a nice letter from a young woman who had graduated there who was of Latin descent, and she said, as I studied, I looked for that painting to sit under because it was the only thing that would remind me of home. Mm-hmm. And so that to me is, okay, so how does what we do give a service to the community? And so that's kind of what my career has been based on.
Yes, I realize that you do a lot of work for the community, the Heritage Society, and so many other places. Luis, I want to get to you. Tell us a little bit about your work. Tell us, what do you focus on? What are you doing to be successful? What's helped you out? And how did HCC help you out?
Oh, well, the HCC helped me out because they allowed me to get the degree I needed to go on to TSU. And it helped me get my GPA up. As for art, I do a lot of abstract art. I base mine upon the old masters, Dalí, Salvador Dalí, Vincent van Gogh, Pablo Picasso, Bodello, a lot of artists who do a lot of expressive paintings, and the colors are what gives them the vibrant life. They're sort of they give sort of the idea of color, and what it expresses is emotion. So the colors express emotion. The warm colors express warm, cool colors express sad feelings. So it's all about emotions.
Well, do you have any advice for other students that are thinking about an art career and getting an education in that field and that type of thing?
I would say if you're going to become an artist, really become an artist, you need to dedicate yourself to your craft. You need to find your craft, you need to pick it out, and you need to stick with it. Another thing they need to do is they need to network. A lot of things goes from networking. That's how you win in this life. Another thing is practice a lot. How do you get to Carnegie Hall? You practice. So you have to practice quite a bit to get good.
Excellent. And HCC helped you out tremendously, you said.
Yes, it helped me graduate a degree, but it also helped me raise my GPA enough so I could get into the university.
Excellent. Well, we are so happy to have you guys on and happy to have you as a success student, a success family, and that kind of thing. Thank you, Laura Lopez Cano, our local artist, and Luis Cano, also a local artist, current TSU student, HCC graduate, and I think you're going on to get a master's eventually. So that's wonderful.
Thank you both for being here. We really appreciate giving us some good news this morning. Laura and Luis, best of wishes to both of you. Continued success.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Right. All right, we're going to let Luis get back to class now because, as you mentioned, Tony, he stepped out in the hallways to do this interview. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Let's get on to our HCC news and announcements. We got a lot of things to let you know about. The Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. They're hosting video podcast series. We're here at HCC. We're helping them produce those. But they have one of them, 2:30 to 4 p.m. Tuesday, November the 9th. The topic, it's an encore presentation of examining the basics. Also, Also, next week, they'll be talking about racism. It's offered in 2 sessions from 10:30 to noon, Monday, November 15th, and also, again, 2:30 to 4 p.m., Monday, November 15th as well. So keep that in mind. You can attend both of those, and check this post, the social media post for this show after we're over, and we'll give you some information where you can register for these events. I want to skip down to something that's very important for the sake of time. Maybe real quickly, we can talk about the law enforcement fire safety hiring fair that's happening, Tony.
Yes, that is, it is happening 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Wednesday, November 10th. The neat thing is that there's going to be companies there like the Austin Police Department, the City of Houston Fire Department, Harris County Office of Homeland Security, HCC Police Department, Houston Police Department, Lee City Police Department. They're all going to be there. So if you're interested in anything that deals with law enforcement, basic firefighting, emergency medical tech, any of that stuff, and you want to get an interview to get hired, this is the place to go. Wednesday, November 10th, 10 to 1 p.m. And we'll have information for that for you after the show.
And another thing that's important, mental health 101. Yeah, we can all use a little bit of help these days. HCC's counseling department is hosting the National Alliance on Mental Illness to present Mental Health 101, providing a basic understanding of the most common mental health challenges and their early signs and symptoms. It's a Zoom session. It's open to all HCC faculty, staff, and students, and you can register to attend. It's 11 a.m. Thursday, November the 11th. We'll show you how to register for that in our social media post. Registration for the spring is underway right now. You can register for 5 ways of learning, including online, hybrid courses with in-person and online, and then, of course, in-person classes. They're small, they're on campus. Yep, they're back, but you have to register early for those. Go to one website, hccs.edu/now to register for all of them. Register early, folks. Those in-person classes like Tony's, she's super popular and they fill up really fast. So you still have class spaces available?
Well, for spring we do.
Okay, all right. So if you want to get Dr. Tony as your professor, make sure you register now. Tomorrow we got some special guests, and hey, it's Tasty Tuesday, Tony.
Yes, Liberty Kitchen will dish up some Gulf Coast Southern regional cuisine. So that should be very tasty to the senses. And, and later this week, we're going to have an entrepreneur, right?
Yeah, Lindsay Brantley of Camellia Elise Skincare Products. You'll learn all about them on Small Business Wednesday, our segment we do bi-monthly here on HCCTV's Up to the Minute. Okay, we're going to wrap up today's show. Tony, you'll be back tomorrow, right?
Right,
and
absolutely.
My new favorite restaurant. I love this place, Liberty Kitchen. They're here tomorrow as well. We're looking forward to hearing from them. All right, we'll see all of you tomorrow live, 10 a.m. right here for Up to the Minute.